And we are already live. You know it's Friday because here we are again. I mean, hey, we must really love this because we're back again. This is the post election tea party. Oh, because we know the conversations are getting hot out there. My name is Maximilian. My friends call me Maximilian. Never go by Max. That's Maximilian with two X's. I've been putting art on the blockchain since 2021. I am a musician, singer, songwriter, music producer, screenwriter, a filmmaker, all the things, and you'll soon see it all. It's all going to be out there in just a moment. Here today with my friend GodCloud. GodCloud, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are?
Yo, what's going on, y'all? God Cloud, finger drummer, multi instrumentalist, lifelong musician, first finger drummer on the blockchain, currently CTO for Malas Palabras Records, and yeah, doing a bunch of other stuff. But I'm on limited time, so let's get into these questions. Let's run it. I'm ready. Post election, post mortem, whatever you want to call it. Let's go.
He is so ready. So, the conversation that I wanted to jump into today was actually a little bit off topic about music, but because the truth is that the election just happened in the United States and everyone's talking about this. There's been a lot of disappointed sentiments, definitely among my friends, as you know, Kamala did not win this election. A lot of people are really disappointed about that. And while everyone's entitled to their opinions, one of the things that I really wanted to talk about was how do we deal with each other? How do we treat each other in this time when many people are very sensitive, not only for reasons like about their candidate winning, but people are genuinely concerned about the future. So I wanted to talk with my friend GodCloud and see if maybe we can lay out some parameters of like some language that we can use when talking with friends or when you're in the recording studio, when you're in the workplace, when you're at the grocery store, you're standing in line at Whole Foods. I bet there are certain kinds of languages that we can use to maybe get our point across without incendiarizing another person without being totally inflammatory. So, God Cloud's not sure about that. But we just wanted to have a little conversation about conversations. So, God Cloud, I'd started off by saying, can you share an example or can you think of like a way to talk about how would you de-escalate or how would you say what you have to say if someone makes a comment like for example you mentioned what if someone that you know, because we're really talking about conversations with people that we know. What if someone
Yeah,
that brought up how your candidate lost in this election? Like, if they joked about it with you, like, how would you feel? What are your thoughts on this?
yeah. I mean, it's. I feel like there's levels to it, to where first off, we're in a really peculiar situation here, and there's an odd dynamic that I don't think has ever been here before, to where it seems one, and let's be honest, that both sides on the spectrum, they make stuff up. They will put out some misinformation to where they're using like a half truth to kind of prove a point. You know what I'm saying? But I feel that the right side particularly believes that, and what I'm seeing the dissonance is that one side tends to live in reality and can understand, like, oh shit, maybe damn, I thought that, but on receiving more information, now I don't believe that anymore. Where the other side is like, fuck that, I saw a meme, it's true. Yeah. So
Yeah, those Democrats, they see a meme and they just go for
yeah,
just
right. So and I've seen Democrats do it too, but not to the level that I see happening on the right. And if we're gonna joke, we both got to be in reality. I need to know that we're both mentally existing on the same plane of existence of reality here. You know what I'm saying? So that's one, and yeah, that's really the major thing. So a couple things that I've learned. It's like, hey, was the 2020 election stolen? And if the answer is no, it sucked that we lost, but it just whatever happened happened. Then okay, we can talk, we can have some discourse. But if it's Nancy Pelosi and we're not in the same reality. So yeah, and that really, and again, it's so extreme now. Because if I can kind of talk to you and we're on the same, understanding of like, yeah, this stuff happening, we can have some discourse. But generally, anybody else who's kind of out there, it's there's no like reasonable or constructive conversation happening.
So, what I'm hearing first and foremost is that the conversations need to first have established that we're not doing the blame game. We're not having a conversation about things that may or may not have happened. What I'm hearing from you is first and foremost, there needs to be like some common ground in terms of just being a reasonable person.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because think about it, somebody if somebody is yelling at you that the sky is green, you might like look up for a second to be like, what? But after that, you're like, are you okay? Right? Right? You're not about to be like, no. You're just gonna be like, yo, you all right? Something going on? Like, what's up? So yeah, reality parameters need to be established. Sadly.
So, did someone say something to you? Like when I was asking you earlier, I wasn't sure if you were joking or not. Did somebody actually come to you and say, "So Trump won. How do you like that?" and laugh? Did that happen for real?
Um, more or less, yeah. Because I don't know if you know this, but on TikTok, I go pretty hard about the political stuff. Like that's like my thing on TikTok. I'm really up on just and
Facts. I mean,
yeah,
like I don't see you doing.
yeah,
I don't see you doing like really joking. I just see you talking about things that you feel people should know.
yeah, right. Yeah, and that's I try to be entertaining about it, but I still just am like, hey, this is what's happening. Here's the evidence. Go here if you want to research it yourself, but this is where we're at. And of course, people are like, aha, so many people, like hundreds of people are like talking shit. Um, and the one thing that's like really disgusting that I'm seeing, and no one's like necessarily said this to me, but people saying like, oh, your body, my choice. That's really sickening. What did somebody else say to me? They were saying that we're sore losers, or that we're gonna be blaming people on the internet, and I'm like, yo, we're just you know what? Never mind. I'm like, okay, So yeah, I've been getting a lot of heat.
So let me ask you this question. And whenever we talk about these kinds of things, I do this because like you have a really strong personality, and I know you're really good at like coming up with things like of the moment. So like how do you decide when you're gonna respond to something and when you're not gonna give someone the time? You can't respond to like every comment. So I mean, that's like one thing to even talk about right away is like, how do you have a personal, how are you going to decide which comments are even going to get a response and which comments aren't? Because there is
um,
like a difference between, like, some people feel like we should talk to each other. There should be a discourse. People that have differing opinions should talk to each other. Whereas other people are like, well, if that's what you think, then I don't even want to talk to you. So like, how do you determine the difference between someone who's just trolling or someone who simply has a contrary opinion but genuinely wants to talk with you? Do you feel like it's even relevant at this point?
Yeah, well, I feel that most people are kind of set into what they believe. There's no swaying them on whatever. Everybody is like, I have the bacon, the eggs, and the milk. It's too much, so fuck trans rights. And there's nothing that you can say to them. You know, it's fucking crazy to think that like a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich is enough to like just sell out. Like entire communities for some people. But yeah, as far as what comments do I respond to and whatnot, um I feel if it's someone who's like combating my post with misinformation, and I feel like I'm definitely responsible in having to respond to that, to say, hey, okay, you said this is not true, and here's why. you know um Other people who might have some, I don't, sometimes I might leave a laughing emoji, or one of my favorites is the clown with the pointy finger. Like that one's a good zinger.
Okay, I'm giving out the clown burgers. They get a clown and a burger. Have this
Yeah,
clown burger, friend. There you go. That's for you.
yes, right. So sometimes if it's some misinformation that is something that I know other people truly believe, I'll respond to that, and sometimes I'll even walk them through their logic. I'm like, okay, I've got a line of questioning here that I'm going to ask them and see what their response is. You know, and it's generally the same because I feel that people are getting kind of fed the same bullshit, and because so many people believe the bullshit, and they can almost like finish the bullshit. You know what I mean? They can you know, like, oh, she slept her way to the top. You know, that's everybody's saying that, when it's like that's a whole other fucking can of worms. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that somebody says, I'm gonna walk them through that because I want that fucking that proof of like, let me break down your logic and show you how flawed it is, you know. So that's really how I go about who do I respond to and who I don't respond to.
Hmm. So first, getting them to explain their position step by step.
Yeah, yep. Kind of saying, hey, so okay, so you're saying that, why? All right, so what is the situation then? Okay, so you said that, this is this. Where do they line up? Oh, because you feel something. Okay, got it. So you'd have no evidence, no proof, no facts, no statistics to back up what you're saying. You just have a gut feeling about something, and you're screaming it from the rooftop. Okay, that's all right. Got it. Got it. So yeah, yeah. If you want to, yeah, you want to go check out my TikTok. It's fucking heated right now. It's fucking. And so is my Facebook page. My personal Facebook page. It's on fire. So I'm really not pulling any punches. I'm, you know.
Do you have any creative plans of like how you're like? Do you have any creative plans of how you're going to handle this? I saw our friend Beeple said that he's got some everydays plan. His everydays are about to go ballistic, about to go crazy over the next 4 years. As I'm sure everything's going to be happening. As myself as an artist too, I was like looking ahead to say, okay, like maybe I should start a new collection somewhere to like kind of keep a running place to express myself artistically through this period. I just I can't help feeling like there's going to be a lot of emotions running high.
Yeah.
I saw a lot on my timeline, people saying they need to take a break from social media and so on. And oh, I just I really empathize because it's not definitely not the time to hide. We definitely want to be around other people, but it's kind of difficult, I think, for people to understand like how to navigate or even how to respond to comments. I'm not sure how I would respond if someone gave me one of those ha ha, or
Mhm.
if someone said to me, "Your body, my choice." Well, first of all, they're going to get my foot in their nose. I think is going to happen. But aside from like just stark violence, uh, how do we, how could we like, for example, here's a question. Now, this is something 50 Cent actually brought this up. So like some mentors, and I'm definitely in this camp. My mentors taught me that if you're an entertainer, you don't talk about politics because people come to see you so they can feel good.
Sure. Yeah.
And politics and some other things, they're polarizing and you shouldn't talk about them. So, I'm just curious, that's totally not your MO because it's kind of like part of your brand, talking about the things that matter to you. But in a situation, like, are there situations where you feel maybe it's better not to talk about it? Or if so, or if things get heated, how might you diffuse a conversation? Because the truth is like the election already happened. So it's not like any conversation any two people have at this point is going to change that.
Right.
So I think at this point, it's about like maintaining relationships and working together to establish the changes that we'd like to see happen in the world.
Yeah, 1,000%. You know, and some people, I'll be honest, there is no olive branch for them. You know, like if I know that you, because let's be honest, people, and you can argue not Donald Trump himself, but the people who he surround himself are, you know, are white supremacists, and they support that. And a lot of the ideas that they cook up, because not everything is coming from down. He appoints people below him that are going to, you know, kind of enact things and put things in motion too. And a lot of the stuff they're doing is in furtherance of, you know, white supremacy, right? And I can tell if someone voted for that reason versus that they didn't know that this dude was as bad as he is. Like a lot of people are like, oh great, this is great for crypto. But once they start hearing about this other stuff, they're like, what? And I've seen this. I've seen people be like, wait a minute, no. Somebody was really, really told, was like, Donald Trump was in the army. He served. And I'm like, no, he fucking didn't. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, but this is but because people are fed so much misinformation, it's what they believe. So some people, it's like straight up, fuck you. There's no olive branch for you if I see you in the streets. It's going to be some of that stark little down home, stark violence. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But I mean, again, and right now, what I'm seeing and what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to do is tell people, hey, yes, this happened. Because right now, the only real, stuff that I'm getting that's not like haha stuff is people telling me that it's not going to be as bad as I think, or that I'm overreacting, or that, whatever isn't going to affect me. But I'm like, listen, dude, like, I don't care if it's, like I'm privileged. Like I had some Bitcoin. I like it ran up. Okay. But not all of my friends are into crypto. So nobody benefit. Like I can say that I'm a detractor of Trump's who directly benefited from him being elected. I can say that. I can say that I was privileged enough for that to happen to me. Um, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, I'm going to do everything I can to work against his policies and what he's about to enact. If he wants to send everything back to the States, all right, game on. So now what do we do, crew? What do we do? And that's what I'm kind of angling at right now. If people want to come on and say haha and laugh, all right, fine, do that. But here I'm putting out constructive points for other people. I know it's hard for other people to deal with because they feel defeated. They're like, what do we do? What do we do? This is the end. It's going to be terrible. It's like, no, not really. We have to know our enemy. If you've seen Project 2025, I got the PDF on my phone right now. You
what's
know,
Project 2025?
you don't know what Project 2025 is?
No, tell me.
No,
Tell me like
no,
I no, I have no idea what you're talking about.
shit. Okay, so have you ever heard? Okay, so there was this group called the Heritage Foundation, right? That was founded in I believe, in the late '70s. Okay, they're a conservative think tank where they like just think of like conservative, basically Christian nationalist values, right?
Well, that
And
explains why I never heard of them. It's
uh,
definitely not my interest group.
sure. So listen. So Reagan, actually, his policies were developed by the Heritage Foundation, right? So Reaganomics, all that shit is Heritage Foundation. Whatever. When Trump was elected originally in 2016, he was working closely with the Heritage Foundation, and they called it the Trump agenda. Okay, and fast forward, they ramp this shit up, and it's saying they want to outlaw porn. They want to basically make being gay illegal. If you are, if you're a gay kid in school and you come out to your teacher and your teacher doesn't tell your parents, your teacher can be jailed. This is like the policies that they're putting together. They're bringing back the Comstock Act, which is something that was passed in the late 1800s that restricts the use of the federal postal service to mail things that could assist in abortions, like abortion medication, medical equipment, all this type of stuff. So it's a 900-page document just breaking down, saying like, hey, if you're on welfare and you're not married, you're not going to be able to get as much as if you were married.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of, it's just like this whole thing, right? And Trump has been saying he doesn't have anything to do with Project 2025 for his whole run. He's been swearing he doesn't have anything to do with it, when most of the people who wrote it are his ex cabinet members, right? He's been seen on the plane with the founder or not the founder, but the leader, the president rather, of the Heritage Foundation and everything. And he yeah, so now that he's elected, all his constituents are like, it's been real the whole time. And his vice president wrote the forward for the president of the Heritage Foundation's book. He wrote the forward for his book, but they've been hiding all this shit, or not even hiding. It's out there, but they've been trying to say, no, 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 this isn't happening. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm telling people is understand what's about to happen. They're saying get rid of critical race theory. They're going to cut funding for anybody talking about racial equality, DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion policies. Their executive order getting rid of all that shit. So they're going to make it, any protective acts that said you can't discriminate against gay people, black, or minority groups. They're getting rid of all this shit on the federal level now. So California, New York, they've gone and done things to specifically get protective laws written into their constitution. So we had Prop 1 passed in New York, which is something that protects reproductive rights, and thank goodness that New York had the foresight to see that. So now it's like, all right, we've got 70 something days before he gets in office. And this stuff is already happening too, is at the National Archives, in the museum exhibits there, the lead archivist who was appointed by Biden, but her bosses are all Republicans, right? The people who run the oversight committee, they're all Republicans, right? She's been taking out things that that relate to or talk about the relationship of the early Native Americans and the United States government. They're just scrubbing all this shit from the exhibits. There was a photo booth where you could sit in there and like take a picture and it would impose you with with like a political or like a history figure. They had Martin Luther King, Dolores Huerta, who was a big labor union proponent back then, and what's her name, Minnie Spotted Wolf, who was the first Native American woman to be in the Marine Corps, right? They took them out of it. So when you take pictures with them, MLK's not in there no more, Spotted Wolf's not in there no more, but they're doing this in preparation for the Trump administration because she doesn't want to lose her job or lose funding, right? This is like preemptive appeasement to Project 2025 so they can keep their positions, right? So
Sanitizing the timeline of minorities and women.
yep. They removed the pictures of the Japanese internment camps from World War II, taking all this stuff out. So what I'm telling people is, listen, they're about to start erasing history and banning history. I've downloaded the entire curriculum for AP African American Studies. I've downloaded the entire curriculum, and I'm in the process right now of compiling the fuck, not the source material, but no, I guess it would be the source material because it tells you what to study, but then it
The
links you
reference
out.
material.
Yes, the reference material. That's it. So I've been compiling all these videos and all these, just documents and essays and all this stuff on gender studies, on Black history, on critical race theory, and I definitely got Trump's indictment too because I know that he's gonna wipe that because Jack Smith is about to quit because Trump's about to be president. He could pardon himself for the 34 counts. So, or no, that's not the 34 counts. That's the insurrection stuff. Sorry, I just said a lot of shit, but yeah, I'm just trying to educate people. This is what we got to do: mobilize, state level, get information together. If you know women who might be, seeking, particular type of healthcare, tell them to get rid of their period trackers because they're about to have a federal monitoring system trying to monitor when women are on their periods, when they're ovulating and shit. So like, hey, if you're trying to cross state lines and you haven't had a period in a long time, what's going on? Like this is the shit that they're trying to do, you know. And sorry, I know I just said a bunch of stuff, but
No, this is great. No, this is
it's
exactly
real.
what I'm talking about. I'm only sorry that you don't have a lot of time today because these are the issues that really are important. And I feel like, coming from my perspective, is like these are the conversations that really matter most. And unfortunately, not what I hear the most about because these are the issues upon which most people agree that, people don't want to live like that. But
Yeah.
here we are. And I think it's all about a lack of education. So, God Cloud, how are you going to disseminate this info? Do you have a mailing list or something where maybe, like for example, maybe somebody would like to do what you're doing and gather like information materials, but maybe they're not as well organized as you. Do you have some pointers or
Yeah, I
something like that?
I'm right now in the process of getting everything together. I'm going to be putting something on my website so people can just go click and download it. I'm just going to make a drive folder, whatever you want to come get it, come get it. I'm going to try to be updating it regularly. Definitely going to be going to the library and printing out as many books from the National Archive as I can right now because, yeah, this is just going to be important. And right now, if you really just want to catch up on what I'm doing at the Real God Cloud on Instagram, TikTok, I'm more active with the political stuff on TikTok because Instagram seems to suppress it, but TikTok kind of just is really helping me get the word out there. And yeah, just yeah, give me a minute to get the files together. It'll be on godcloud.org. But try to just get accustomed with collecting PDFs. Keep different topics in different folders. Keep the source material labeled properly and or the reference material labeled properly, um, because it's really about to be up to us to kind of be the keepers of these records now, since this administration is already putting pressure on people who we kind of trusted to help keep the timeline for us. So
Yeah, I just have to point this out. It's amazing how things don't fucking change. Hundreds of years ago, they were still doing the same thing, weren't they? Storming a place that had been taken over and then like destroying everything.
hmm
And this is really the same thing, just a little bit neater.
yeah, it's really it's fucking scary, and just seeing how fast it's going and how people are okay with it, and
Oh, well,
you know
hold on now. What do you mean seeing how people are okay with it?
what do you mean?
What do you mean seeing how people are okay with it?
So people
Who are you talking about? Like, I'll be honest, like, maybe it's because my exposure is limited to people who I don't want to punch in the face.
yeah,
But
yeah, I don't know how they like are just like
uh,
I feel like most people that watch my videos disagree with me, which is like,
I know there's some people I know there's some people who I consider friends of mine who voted in a way that I probably wouldn't have appreciated much. But I genuinely feel like it's a lack of life experience that causes like this not seeing the seriousness of things, and then maybe like a lack of like understanding like historically that this has happened before and what it looks like. So maybe people people that are maybe too young to recognize this pattern that we've seen happen before. We've seen this before.
yeah.
But I yeah.
No, yeah, and like I'll make a point. Like, that Aiden Ross, the streamer kid, right? You know Aiden Ross? Have you ever seen him before?
I don't know. I
No?
think so.
Okay, so he's like a Twitch streamer, right? And I'm gonna have to say a word different because I don't know if I can say this on on any one of the platforms you're streaming to without it getting cut. But I'm gonna say a fascist. Okay, you know what word I'm trying to say there? Like if you're a fascist, you appreciate fascism. Okay, you got me. All right, cool, cool, cool. So yeah, so on Aiden Ross's stream, he's like a big time, streamer, whatever, like one of the most popular in the world, right? And somebody he said that he's voting for Trump. He's like, I'm not a libtard, I'm voting for Trump. And then somebody said, yo, he's a fascist. And he goes, what's that? He was like, what are you talking about? He's like, what does that even mean? So this guy, and he had Trump on his stream, and that was a big, like, they got like tens of millions of views, of streams, of people watching it. So, and even, like most people don't know about Project 2025 and the role of the Heritage Foundation,
I didn't know about it.
Yeah, right. And prior to that, it was called the Trump Agenda. In 2016, it was called the Trump Agenda. And right on his Facebook page right now, I made a video about this too. That post from 2018 is still there. So all this time he's been denying about knowing who the Heritage Foundation is. He's got on his fucking Facebook page from back then just a post of him with the guy saying like, "Oh, 65% of the Trump agenda has been enacted. Thanks for the Heritage Foundation for helping me put this together." And it's like all right there. So again, I think that Trump kind of took advantage of people just taking information, like whatever's put in front of them at face value, and just believing it. Because I remember one time my grandfather, he was going to vote for him. And when I was like, Granddad, like, this is what he stands for. And he was like, well, he can't do that. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, but on the TV, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that on the TV. It's like, but watch this speech. Listen to what he's really saying. And that's what made him be like, oh, shit. And now he's like, now he's a bit more aware about it. And is like, questions he'll ask me like, hey, is this real? Is this legit information here? Um, but yeah, I really think people didn't know how serious this was. People were thinking like, oh wow, this is great for crypto. I'm voting for crypto. And I'm like, okay,
But you're
well that
also voting for all these other 20 things that's going to make crypto irrelevant because you're not going to spend anything. You're going to be living underneath the fucking jail.
right, yeah. And not only that, but it's like he's talking about these tariffs where Okay, sure, yes, tariffs do work when they're strategically used in like a specific industry. When you provide sweeping tariffs over everything, like there's stories about companies telling their staff saying like, "Hey, the Christmas bonus is off because we got to try to order as much stuff right now to operate next year because we get shit from China. Trump's putting a 60% tariff on everything from China. China doesn't pay the tariff; we pay the tariff. But because of the electric vehicle tariff he put on China back when he was in office that Biden kept because it made sense to do that one tariff on that one industry. People think, well, more tariffs will be great. Where no, America isn't equipped to make all the little like gadgets and gadgets that they make in China. And also, too, the fact that he's talking about deporting 20 million undocumented citizens, that's his thing. And he said he's going to just have the military and local police forces going around, rounding them up, and there will be internment camps for them to put them in
This
until they can
is the
deport them.
fucking Holocaust.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, dude, so you're talking about internment camps for all these undocumented or
This
illegal.
is awful.
Yeah, and also too, he just announced that the children, because if you were born in America, you got citizenship automatically. But from when he gets in office going forward, anybody born from undocumented parents will not have citizenship. And with him enacting the Alien Enemies Act, he's going to be able to go after the families too of people who are related to undocumented citizens. So if you got an aunt that's undocumented, you might get swept up in this shit too
This
and put
is
in a
all
fucking.
too familiar. This
Yep,
is all.
blanket immunity for police. He's promising to, and I'm like, listen, blanket immunity for police, rounding up illegal immigrants. I could be fucking Haitian. I could be whatever the fuck. I got fucking dreads. I look like I'm from an island half the fucking time. What if I don't have my fucking papers on me? The police are gonna be around going around saying, "Man, check your papers, please," or "Your papers in order, sir." And I'm gonna be like, "Ah, fuck, no, my papers ain't in order. I left them on the dresser." Then boom, you're in some shit now. So all this stuff. I'm like, dude, this guy ran on internment camps, potential sweatshops, and Gestapo style policing, and people were like, crypto.
It's just, it's like some people, they don't want to look at the parts that they don't know what to do with. And they just refuse to see anything except for what they do know what to do with. They want to look at and only acknowledge the part they're familiar with, and that's it. But it doesn't make the rest of this go away. I'm like, we don't want to get into a place where we feel like hopeless and like there's nothing to be done. However, I feel like something you said earlier is just really important, which is I think each of us needs to decide what are we going to do about the things that matter most to us. I don't think that as an individual we can do something about everything. But definitely, I think it's important to like choose something and mobilize and like find a way appropriate portal to actually do get involved and do something. Like for example, I know so your MO is you're like, okay, well, I see that they're sweeping away this information, so I'm going to be the maintainer of this information.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's so many things that we can do. I'm actually going to make a video on it later. I'm getting that together. But yeah, think about who you have immediately in your circle, how they're going to be affected, and then try to take it like a step further. Like each time you want to do an action, think about how you can take it a step further. Like I'm already thinking about ways because I know that they're going to start restricting, the transportation and movement of, hormones and blockers, hormone blockers and whatnot that trans people use. So just like they have organizations that you could donate to that help give women, I think it's like Plan C pills.org or .com or something. Don't quote me on that, but you can donate to that. So if women need, AB pills, then they can, fill out something and get those. So I'm thinking we need to do something similar for trans people as well. So if they need their hormones or their blockers, whatever they need, then they can go to this thing, fill it out, and everybody's donating to that to help them, through that. And yeah, just try to get creative about what you can do if you have a you know if you have a friend who might need some who might need to go across state lines. Give them some fucking gas money. Ride with them. If you've got gay friends who are going to be going out, or any minority friends who are going to be going out, and if you're white too, and I recognize that, I'm black, and I might not have as much privilege as a white person, but I know that, being a cis male, that I do have a lot of privilege still, more than some other people. So use that.
Also, you are 7 feet tall and not
Yeah,
to be fucked with.
yeah, that too, and I, and I ain't got like that thing, but I got, I keep something with me, and I'm not above the smoke by no means. I'm not like a peaceful person or whatever, but for what's right, I'm like, hey, let's get down, let's make it happen.
No, I
So
like where you're going with this. You're saying
yeah,
go with your friends to take care of things, that there is safety in numbers, is what I'm hearing.
yes, exactly. There's safety in numbers, and not only that, there's strength in numbers. So start really working with your local government, because and I think that's where he's gonna mess up. I think that's the big mistake, is the fact that he sent everything back to the states, and it's like, motherfucker, we gonna make this shit bluer than fucking blue. Like, yo, we about to go fucking full blue out this bitch, yo. Like, let's fucking cook. Like, and again, I don't really look at myself as like a Democrat or nothing, but if you look at the two different sides, which side is more compassionate and trying to help people give kids free lunches, and which side is like, oh, if you're hungry, then tell your parents to get a job? Like, which side is which? You know what I'm saying? Like, which side is always talking about bootstraps? Which side is always which side is like, hey, let's fucking feed the immigrants. And also this too, I do want to say this too. I do hear, because I've been talking to my cousin about this a lot, because he was really pissed, and I don't think he even voted, but he was leaning towards Trump. And I do understand that a lot of black people feel disenfranchised, because we are watching, in the case of New York, that a lot of immigrants were getting um, uh, uh, like debit cards. You know what I mean? They were getting put up in hotels and all this stuff and that stuff. And I think they spent like shit. I want to say like a little under 100 million to house and feeds. Like, I don't know. Like, it was a lot. I think it was like 65,000 migrants, something like that. Migrant families claiming asylum. I could be off with those numbers. And a lot of black people are feeling like, well, why the fuck aren't we getting reparations if all this stuff and that stuff is happening? But this is where I'm like, okay, that happened. Yes. Now we can kind of, one thing that we know is like gold right now, and that people are looking for is, and this might be a weird fucking
I
term.
wait, let me guess. I think I know where you're going with this. People are looking for meme coins.
Almost, almost, almost. But I want to offer this. So, I'm just kind of trying to offer some solutions. And I definitely wanted to touch on this, because I know there are a lot of black people who are, feel disenfranchised, and I don't, and I don't blame them. I get it. But what right now, I feel like black people are in a position that we're in is because we don't really have access to a lot of resources. Like a lot of, like white people got access to things like lumber, like steel, like fucking, like precious stone rights in the land. Like I'm like I'm gonna sell you this land, but if you find any precious stones in the dirt, that's mine still. Like that type of shit. Black people don't really have an industry or a yeah, we don't have like an industry or anything like that. People say entertainment, this or that shit, but it's like, no, NBA is still owned by mostly or all white people. So is music, entertainment, all that type
We're
of shit.
just doing the dancing.
Yeah, right. So how I'm seeing it is, this is where we get blockchain, and you hear me talk about depends all the time, but this is why I fucking love it. Okay, I'm coming right now. I just got to make one more point. I'll be right down. Um, so listen, right. So with decentralized physical infrastructure networks and shit, right. What's gold, right? What's the one thing that they really, extract from us a lot of the time is information, is our data. And if we can figure out a way to harvest that, also while gathering resources and more information, that's going to allow us to be more self-sufficient. So we're not worried about like, oh, damn, well, the immigrants are getting money. Why aren't we getting money? You know what I'm saying? So how I'm seeing things too is what we need to kind of do. Not even kind of. What I would like to do is to lobby for incremental reparations that are allocated, every however many years. I haven't gotten a the timeline down yet.
I mean, what's taking you so long?
I, I know, right? I know, right? But because what the big argument against it is oh, it'll bankrupt the country. It's too much money. It's like, okay, then we'll take a little now, a little later, and a little more down the line.
Put these
Make it be a
reparations on
generational.
layaway, player.
Yeah, right, exactly. Make it be a generational fucking thing because they got to eat off of our generational fucking labor. So hey, give us this shit generationally, and we take that, invest it in blockchain and decentralized physical infrastructure networks. So then we'll have our own cell phone towers, our own irrigation systems, our own weather tracking systems, systems that track what we buy, what we spend. And if companies, big corporations want a piece of that, they got to come to us to get that fucking shit. We're making dough off of that. We start taking control of our information and our data. You can't have it yet. You want it, you got to fucking pay us for that shit, and we're getting paid to accumulate it too. So that's what I think. I got some.
Yeah, I mean, this is
I'm about to run for
definitely
office.
no. Ha ha ha. Well, you got my vote. You got my vote when you get ready. I pray you live. I pray you live a good long life, and that you still want to do it. You've got some really good ideas there, God Cloud. So I guess next time we get together, maybe we can talk a little bit more about information because I think you're definitely on track there. One thing I've been saying since I came into this game is, yeah, owning our information is important, but most people don't know how to monetize our data or so like or just data period. So yeah, you've got it all, but then what do you do with it? You still need another person who's willing to sell that data to make the value, because if you have something, the value isn't only in the having it, but it's also in like the offer of what's going to be done with that data, monetizing it, finding someone to whom it is valuable. I definitely see that as a potential going forward. But of course, the thing too to remember is that it's been in the past, the companies, it's been in their best interest to harvest and mine that data. People are only just now becoming aware of the power of data. So,
Yes.
and it's only just now that developers are coming up with ways to incentivize and to empower us to monetize our data ourselves. And of course, it might seem like a small thing, but it's all the little things that add up that make a lifestyle what it is. And ultimately, what this really is about, I feel, is do we still have the right to a happy lifestyle? Do we still have all of the rights that we need to pursue and to enjoy life as we see it? That's what I think everybody wants. It's just the right to live how we choose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's getting, greatly infringed upon. So, hopefully, we can take the right steps to, do the best with what we're working with right now. But yeah, I'm about to be out the door and I'm gonna lose signal. But good talk, good talk. I think we got into it pretty good today. But
Absolutely.
yeah, we're super late. I'm about to get my head cracked. But
Don't do it.
yo,
Don't do it. Love you, Daddy.
all right, peace, y'all. Much love,
Peace.
everybody. See you later.
Later. Oh yeah. Here, let me promote God Cloud's Drip House drop. God Cloud is on Drip House and he's got a drop. Definitely check it out. Um, Droplets, check it out. If you want to see some amazing finger drumming videos, definitely check it out. God Cloud's really been going there with the drone footage. I always find his videos very inspiring, especially since I'm not from the East Coast. I really enjoy all the aerial footage and seeing the water and the bridges and all the different things like that. So it's always good to chat with God Cloud, always good to see him and to hear his usually incredibly spicy take. But this was pretty level headed today. For any friends who are joining me, my name is Maximilian, and I want to thank you. Today we took a little diversion from talking about music to talk about talking. Because in the United States, anyway, we just had our election, and many people that I know and that God Cloud knows too, our candidates did not win. And so people are feeling some kind of way, and some people are taking some personal time maybe to process these feelings. And so I wanted to just take a moment to say to everyone, whether your candidate won or your candidate lost, we are all still here together. And it's up to you as an individual, just like it's up to me as an individual, to be a part of the change that I want to see in the world. And remember, a candidate is just a candidate. It's not a person who is physically reaching their hand into your life. It's still very much up to you how you live, What kind of support do you have in your life, and what kind of support do you offer others? I hope that as you go throughout the day, that you will remember that you are empowered, you have power, and it's within your power to empower others. Remember, you don't have to be a black person to help black people. You don't have to be a woman to help women. You don't have to be a child or a parent to help children. But always help yourself first. Love yourself. Put yourself first. And if there's any love in you left, please share it with all of us. Me first. I love you. I care about you. And there is much love here for you. Take care of yourself and everyone else as you can. See you next week.